Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Voice of College Football Community here for the Pac-12 Chat Show Live. What a week, guys. This is the final week of Pac-12 football games, which seems crazy. You guys ready for the big excitement coming up?
Yeah, I'm glad for the rest of the conference. There's going to be some fun games that they'll be enjoying.
Yeah.
Yeah, USC is done for the week, or done for the season.
Excited to talk some SC football this week. Yeah, for sure.
All right. Well, should we dig into the big news coming down the pike this week?
What is that?
Which one?
Well, we got two big pieces of conference news that have come out. A lot of various sort of sports world news, but two big pieces of conference news. The first one is Washington and Washington State have agreed, after Washington goes to the Big Ten, to continue the Apple Cup. So this year's game is going to be played in Seattle, and the deal they've worked out is that they have a 5-year deal. Next year, they're going to split the Seahawks Stadium 50-50 in Seattle, which will be fun. And then the next 4 will alternate between the campuses, between Pullman and Seattle. So this is big news, because what this means is that we're finally seeing a little bit of cooperation between Washington and Washington State. So what do you guys think? Are we gonna get this? Are the Oregon schools gonna make an agreement themselves for the Civil War?
They should, maybe. I don't know. I don't know. I'm not gonna speak for them. They seem to be very gung-ho about that. The Beavs, for some reason, don't want to. I don't know if Oregon wants to. I don't know if I know enough to speak for them. I would like them to. I would like for UCLA to play Cal somehow. But it's good to see the Apple Cup's going for at least another 5 years.
Yeah, I agree with you. All right. Well, that is the first big news. And the second big news, continuing our theme of what happens next, we don't know. The big debate over who is in control of the Pac-12 is still in the hands of the Washington State Supreme Court, where a judge's ruling was basically tossed out pending the Supreme Court's decision on whether they want to hear the case or not. So we are going to still see what happens there. Both sides have filed briefs. We should have a decision from the court on whether or not they even want to hear it on December 4th is the date that they're targeting. Now, what's crazy about that is that puts the Beavs and the Cougs in a really bad place in terms of scheduling, because that's the day the transfer portal opens and they don't have a future yet.
That's going to be a telling sign. What is going to happen come December 4th, less than 2 weeks away, 12 days away? How many Cougs and Oregon State Beavers enter that transfer portal, as well as this last weekend of the season before going into the championship games? The discussions with Jonathan Smith, Arizona Jetfish, do those gain some traction with many schools out there looking to upgrade their head coach?
Can we give a quick shout out to Jonathan Smith for having by far the best honest answer to have you or your agent talked to anyone question?
Absolutely. What did you think of that?
It was good, because it was true, right? It was basically like the equivalent of I hope he is, he should be. What am I paying him for? He should be telling me what else is out there. Right. It was truthful, and I don't know that means that he's going anywhere. Maybe he is, maybe he isn't. He probably can make a lot of money somewhere. I'll just say that. But the answer, at least, is genuine and honest and truthful, and it's the same answer that every coach would be giving if they're being honest about it.
That's a way of getting a contract extension. If you're Jonathan Smith, it's basically subtly telling Oregon State, check your checkbook, check the cushions in the couch, the change, kind of like Arizona's doing, because, hey, I'm in demand. I'm letting you know right now.
It's going to be interesting. And it's going to cost Oregon State a lot of money that is right now very uncertain. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens either way. And, I mean, I'll tell you in all honesty, when I think about their situation, they almost should pay because the cost of losing him will be so high, I think.
Years back.
It'll set them years back. So we'll see what happens. All right, boys, should we dig into some games?
Let's rock and roll.
We got 6 big games this week in the conference. This is the last week of Pac-12 games, which is just crazy. We got the last Pac-12 After Dark game, and we've got the last game on the Pac-12 network. So with that, let's dig in. The first game, we're going to talk second to last about the first game being played. So we'll start with Saturday. The first game Saturday, Rice-Eccles Stadium, Utah, Colorado. Both have had some pretty disappointing seasons, I think, for what they were expecting at least. Guys, what do we think is going to happen in this big showdown?
I'm not sure if Utah is disappointed, but like given the situation that they were faced and the injuries and whatnot, I don't think that they should be like upset or anything more than like absolutely proud of their program and what's got running there. And I would like to congratulate all the Utah fans. I'm happy for them to hear that Cam Rising will have his 12th year in college football next year. So like, that's good for you guys. Go kick some Big 12 ass next year with Cam. That would be great to see. So Dion's gone from like, basically like calling out reporters at the beginning of the year, like, do you believe now kind of talk to like now making geography jokes in press conferences about like where Mount Rushmore is and just wasting time. Like, I don't know. That's like where Colorado football is at and how the mood has kind of shifted to me and to how I think people are looking there. And, I don't know, like really quickly aside, like their high school recruiting isn't that good. And I don't know, like, they can say all they want to say about like bringing better people in, but they've done that once. I don't know that they necessarily can just go out and solve everything that they're going to have on the line next year, going into next year. Talking about next year, because I don't think this game is very interesting. Utah rolls and Colorado gets beat. I don't think is Shedeur even playing.
I'm not sure.
I don't think it matters.
Right. It doesn't. Well, it matters. It matters whether, it matters whether they lose by like 20 or 35 or something, right?
Yeah, I'm with you, Chris. This game, I mean, I don't know, Tony. I think Colorado's right where we thought they were going to be. Once we got past all that hype and bullshit we heard early on in the year, this is where I thought Colorado would be, and we'll see. Let's see. They're going to end up losing this one as well. So Utah wins big.
I'm a little disappointed because I bet a friend.
You're right, Jim.
I set the over-under on Colorado wins at 3, and he took the over. And like 5 minutes after frickin' Colorado won that 4th game, I got a text with his Venmo address. I want to hear from the chat. If Colorado loses this game and finishes 4-8, do I owe this guy $100? That's embarrassing. He's a CU Boulder alum, and maybe I string him out a little bit, but it's kind of embarrassing what has happened. And Tim and Tony, you were right. You called it. This is what you thought. And there was news this week. I think Sports Illustrated had an article that USC offered a godly amount of money to Morgan Scalley. And Morgan Scalley says, I am not going to be bought. I am not going to go to USC. But hey, USC just kind of threw out the checkbook there and let it be known that we mean business. And I wouldn't expect Morgan Scalley to leave Utah because he's going to be supposedly probably the next coaching candidate to replace Kyle Whittingham whenever he chooses to leave the throne and become the AD out there in Salt Lake City. But Cam Rising coming back for a 7th year or 12th year, as Chris reported. Could he be next year's Utah head coach? I mean, God, Cam Rising walks on water in Salt Lake. He walks across the Salt Lake like with no problem. He skips across it. This is going to be a game that's going to be all Utah, and they're mad. They got destroyed by Arizona. They got dethroned, and now it's going to be Arizona, Utah next year for the Big 12 championship. They're going to rule that basketball conference. Utes will roll the Buffaloes.
I think you guys are right. I mean, I think Tim was right about Colorado the whole time. I mean, and I also believe that, but I doubted myself for a little bit when they started beating some people. And then we realized that the people they were beating were terrible. So, that happens sometimes. It's happened to USC before. I'm not going to lie. Early season hopes, but certainly never crashed quite as badly as this Colorado team has crashed. So I think Utah's hurting from last week. That was embarrassing to them. And I think they will extract the pain of their embarrassment on Colorado. Now, I don't think they will humiliatingly run it up, but I think that they will just solidly demolish Colorado and send Colorado back to the rebuilding table. So see what happens. And by the way, Rick, I think you need to negotiate him down to maybe like $60.
Yeah. Okay.
Negotiate that deal down. Do what the Pac-12 doesn't do very well.
Maybe I offer crypto.
Yeah, offer him in crypto. Hey, that could be worth a zillion. Who knows?
Who knows?
All right. Next up, the Territorial Cup. Now, for those of you guys who don't know Arizona and Arizona State, I will tell you, probably more so than any of the Pac-12 rivalry pairs, these two hate each other. Like, this is a blood feud, Hatfields and McCoys, that we don't, like, outside of Arizona, don't always realize what a big deal it is. So, guys, we got Jed Fish rolling in. We got Dilly trying to put his team together. What are we going to see when the Cats and the Devils hit them up at Sun Devil Stadium?
So when I looked this up, it was only like a 10.5 point spread, and I was kind of surprised that the number was that low. And that's not like mostly just because I think that Arizona clearly deserves to be thought of as the third best team in the conference at this point. And, Arizona State outside of like knocking a weird UCLA team around hasn't done a ton. And I would expect Arizona to take care of the Sun Devils rather easily. I think Arizona State, it would have been so interesting to me to see this team if they didn't have to go through the injuries they went through, and if Dillingham's calling plays the entire year. I'm pretty interested to see what Dillingham's future ends up being, and how successful he can be there, because I kind of like him. I don't know if I know enough. I haven't followed them and watched them as much, but I don't know. I think there's kind of something there. And assuming Jed Fish isn't distracted by other things like a coaching search or something that none of us know about, and the staff is still doing their job, I expect Arizona to win this by at least a couple touchdowns.
Yeah, I agreed. It's a long season, kind of like we said about Colorado, kind of what we said about Arizona State. You don't have a lot of quality depth, and they had a lot of early injuries. Injuries mount up. Arizona wins one easily.
Nope, Rick, you muted.
Tony, like you said, this is a bitter feud between that nobody really understands except for the people of Arizona. They're at 86 game series, and Arizona is behind ASU, 41 wins to 44 losses and one tie. Very, very close. This is one of the closest rivalries, and it's bitter. And right now, not only are you playing for bowl position with Arizona, but you're also, if you're ASU, you're looking to try and recruit the state. Both of you are trying to recruit the state, and this is very important. And Kenny Dillingham, we've seen what he's done, obviously, against UCLA with the win, against USC, and the unconventional offenses that he has put forth. He's going to throw everything out, and I don't know. I don't know if he's going to have enough. I just think Arizona. I predicted they were going to lose to Utah, and they just blew them out. And so I think Jed Fish, they learned something. Almost beating USC and the other close losses they had to Washington and Mississippi State. They're the hottest team right now, and they're going to win this game by 10 plus points.
And real quick, forgive me if we pointed it out, but I don't think that we did. This game is potentially for a spot in the conference title game if the Beavs upset the Ducks, right? So there's a chance that Arizona is playing on Saturday for a chance to go to the conference title game, which if you're an Arizona fan, you've got to be pretty dang stoked on how your football team is looking right now and the season that they've had.
Yeah, if the Beavs win on Friday night, then this game decides who goes to the conference tournament or the conference finals. So
that's right. Do you think Dillingham is calling Jonathan Smith and saying, "I want 19 runs in a row, jam it down their throat"?
Jed is definitely on the phone to Smith right now, telling him. I don't know. Did Arizona and Oregon even play this year? I feel like they didn't.
I think they didn't.
They did not.
Yeah, because
doesn't matter.
We can't share signs. Arizona can't give all the info to Oregon State to help them beat Oregon.
And isn't Connor Stallions actually friends with Jed Fish?
He is. So they have worked together before.
Is Connor Stallions going to be in Corvallis? Who knows? We'll find out. Actually, I guess he'd need to be in Seattle, but still. Who knows? You didn't hear that here. You guys, as I take a look at this one, it's one of those games where in the Territorial Cup, nothing would shock me. I mean, no matter what happened, it wouldn't be a shock. With that said, I think that Arizona will roll comfortably. Arizona is just having a magical season. They are fired up. The school is fired up. The team is fired up. The staff are fired up. And I just think they're going to be too much for Arizona State. Again, with that said, this is the Territorial Cup, and anything can happen. So we'll see. The former USC quarterback and Pac-12 commentator Max Brown said he wants a 30 for 30 on the collapse of Arizona State. He was thinking about where they were in 2019 relative to where they are now.
You could do like a 6-part series on that one.
You really could. I mean, think about when you got Jade about to win the Heisman somewhere else. You got the collapse of Herm, everything. It's a whole story in itself. All right, next up to bat, the Apple Cup, another feud rivalry. We've got Washington and Wazoo. They're facing each other in court, and they're facing each other on the field. In a court, in the court, and on the field. We've got the Cougs and the Dogs. Guys, what is going to happen in this game?
Maybe it's more appropriate to talk about it during the power rating segment, but really quick on Washington, I just want to say that the College Football Playoff Committee argument where people are arguing whether Washington or whether Washington or Florida State should be 4. I think the real argument where SC fans get it right and where the Pac-12 has lagged behind and not been used to this argument is Washington should really be number 2, so that way when the argument should be that you should be pumping is that Washington should be number 2, and then that way if they happen to lose to Oregon in the title game, we sneak them both in to the playoff. But setting that aside, and I think there is an argument for that. It was made on ESPN a little bit. I won't go into it, but the Huskies I know that I have Oregon higher in the power ratings when we get there, but the Huskies are the most deserving, team in the conference by far, obviously, in their schedule. They have better wins than almost pretty much anyone. That aside, Wazoo, who had lost 6 straight, finally woke up again and absolutely demolished Colorado. I don't know how much you guys saw of that game.
It was wild.
Shador got injured, and so the team was pretty much done. That game was done fairly early. Washington State had it going. I'm interested. I kind of think they might hang around a little bit. Like, the number seems big to me, not to be a betting kind of like podcast. Like, I think that Washington State might hang around, maybe beat the spread, but I think that the Huskies are way too much to see this Coug team taking them down, and Washington will remain undefeated going into the conference title game.
Yeah, Cougs don't have a chance to go in. Now, just both these rivalry games that we're going to talk about, they're just at the wrong stadium for the upset. Spoiler alert. So, it's gonna be tough to beat the Huskies. It's definitely tough to beat the Huskies in Seattle. So, give me Washington easily.
Yeah, and Chris alluded to Washington being like number 2. I agree. I mean, you take a look at it, they have ranked wins against Oregon State, Arizona, and the other team they have is Oregon. They have 3 wins, and it should be 4 because the College Football Playoff Committee is playing the SEC shell game. How the hell is Tennessee ranked number 21 at 7-4? Give me an effing break.
Yeah, no, Utah should be ranked. I had skipped over that when we were talking about that game, but Utah should be ranked ahead of Tennessee and whatever ratings you're doing.
Right. And they're trying to get an SEC, maybe 2 teams in there. This is the SEC shell game. We see it every year, and it's BS because do we forget that Florida went into Utah and lost at Utah, and then yet Florida boat raced Tennessee, and Tennessee got boat raced by Georgia and by Missouri? What is their best win? What have they done all year? It's ridiculous. But this is the game we see all the time. And it hurts the Pac-12 in one of the best years because some numbnuts are propping up the SEC, and Tennessee is an embarrassment. Come on. Really? I know USC is an embarrassment, but we're not number 21. I mean, we're 7-5. Why can't we be 22 behind Tennessee? That's what an abomination it is. And that's the game that it is down south. Utah should be above Tennessee. I'm sorry. And, Washington, this is their year. I could go rogue and say the Pac-12 is going to be the Pac-12 and Washington State and Cam Rising are going to win, but not this game. Washington is going to win this game. The Pac-12 has been different this year. It's outstanding. And Washington is going to put a number on Washington State. Huskies, big.
I think you guys are right. Washington is just too good for Wazoo. I mean, this is another one. And again, another one of those rivalry games where a lot of things can happen, but it's at Husky Stadium. I think the Huskies are dialed in. I think Washington is ready for this game. And I just don't, based on what we've seen throughout the season, I don't think Washington State has the horses to keep up. Stranger things have happened, though, so we'll see. But I think Washington wins, and quite honestly, I think Washington covers. So it's going to be an interesting one to see. And then I also think Washington wins in court as well. So we'll see what happens there. All right. So, gang, this is going to be the last game on the Pac-12 network, which is giving Notre Dame its first game on the Pac-12 network. And funny enough, the last game on the Pac-12 network involves a team that's not in the Pac-12. But we've got Notre Dame going into Stanford Stadium for the Legends Trophy. Is there any chance that Stanford pulls the upset in this one, guys?
Yeah, so we got, like you were saying, we got the ACC on the Pac-12 network. The only thing I got for you here, Tony, is I guess it happened last year, so it could happen again. But other than that, no. I mean, Notre Dame is a much better team. Stanford is not very good at all, and I fully expect if Stanford comes in half awake that they will win this game. And I need 30 seconds. I will be right back.
All right.
Yeah, in the best of years, this is a tough hill to climb for Stanford as Mark does his victory lap. But this will not be one of those years. Stanford is going to get crushed. Notre Dame going away.
Tony, do you know if the tree is going to be at this actual game, the last Pac-12 game on the Pac-12 network?
I believe there will be several trees at the game.
Oh, okay. I didn't know. The last I heard, they were banned. I don't know if that was last year or
Yeah, the
this
tree.
year.
No, the new tree. The new tree is in place.
Okay, so our old friend, the tree, is he just got 86? They didn't.
Well, his time it was that they get a new tree every year. So
Okay.
his
So
time
he-
as tree came to an end. So he's now a tree alum. But we both remember we have two good friends of the show that are former trees.
Now, is he going to be the former tree? Is he going to be there? Are they going to allow him to be on the field? Because
I think they will both be there.
Okay,
We'll see. We'll see. Who knows? Actually, it's Thanksgiving, so who knows?
And the
Who
reason I
knows with
ask,
Stanford on Thanksgiving.
is that's going to be the most exciting part of this game is the trees, the band. The football team, not so much. Stanford rolls big.
Yeah, I think you think Stanford rolls big?
Yeah. Did I say that? Notre Dame. I'm sorry, Notre
Oh
Dame.
yeah, I was gonna say.
Oh my God.
Rick, that's it. Okay, that's an impressive pick for an upset.
No,
I was just gonna let it roll with how calmly he said it, so it could make just look back on it next week after it happens.
It took my brain just a minute there to be like, wait, did
I'm
he
sorry,
say what I think he said?
I'm even going Pac-12. I got Pac-12 memories here. I'm sorry.
You're thinking about Christian McCaffrey.
Oh my God. Yeah, my bad.
All right, Rick goes with the Irish. Yeah, guys, Notre Dame is good and Stanford is not. And last year, of course, that was true last year too. And they pulled an upset at Stanford Stadium. But I'm told that Notre Dame is motivated for this. Notre Dame wants the Legends Trophy back. Notre Dame was embarrassed to lose at home last year to Stanford. And also, Notre Dame is apparently furious that this game is on the Pac-12 network. How ESPN, ABC, and Fox and FS1 all declined to pick this game, I don't know. I'm not really sure exactly how this game ended up on the Pac-12 network, but there it is. Notre Dame.
I'm sorry, Tony. Didn't NBC just sign a contract extension with Notre Dame?
For the home games, yeah.
Right.
This is at Stanford.
So Notre Dame couldn't negotiate kind of a fluffer, kind of like a bonus. Hey,
I don't know.
Take us off
I got,
Pac-12. Yeah, come on.
I do not know. It's possible the Pac-12 got like one pick or something they made. I don't know. But somehow this game is on the Pac-12 network, and this will be the last football game on the Pac-12 network.
Maybe God didn't want that bonus to be on NBC. They said, you know what? We want you to go ahead and be on the Pac-12 network. God said no on the NBC fluff deal.
It's very possible. All right, so then we're cutting back here. We saved this just so that we had a big crowd here gathered for this. The Platypus Trophy. So we're cutting back. This game's actually on Friday night. Now, if Oregon wins, Oregon goes to the conference championship game. But Oregon State is playing for pride. Oregon State has started a hype campaign. They're calling it For Our State. Like, they are viewing Oregon as the team that has devastated their conference world, and they want revenge. They want revenge in this game. Guys, is there any chance the Beavs can stop the juggernaut that is the Ducks?
Yeah, so like the way you're talking about there and the way we talked about the Apple Cup being extended, it just feels a little different in this one, right? Like, it doesn't feel like that same kind of thing is happening. Yeah, like, so anyone that's like watched this show for any part over the last couple of years know how much I respect the Beavs and the job Smith's done there, and they're a super good team. And if UCLA can end up having Jonathan Smith, I hope no one does, and I hope he stays there forever. But that being said, yeah, we do. Everything's gravy. He's so good he could beat a 7-5 SC team. Anyway,
Smarts. That was smarts. We got you.
It hurts. My friends keep texting me pictures of the Victory Bell painted blue again.
Oh,
The Ducks win, though, much to the chagrin of not only the Beavs and myself, who will probably be rooting for the Beavs, and but also the Wildcats, and we end up getting the rematch of Oregon-Washington in the title game.
Yeah, I just don't think that the Beavs have enough on offense in this game. And so they looked really good at times, but I just think that they're going to have trouble on Saturday. I wanted to pick Oregon State. This was at Reeser. I'm picking Oregon State, but because it's not, the Beavs just don't play the same when they're away from home. So Oregon's going to win this one.
I agree with Tim. I was watching the end of the Oregon State-Washington game. I was drinking an extra dirty martini, washing my soul away after that UCLA beating on USC. There was 3 other couples at the Black Marlin in Tustin doing the same. My wife and I were watching the game, and we were rooting for the Beavs. We were pulling for them. That last drive, all they need is a field goal. And they're driving, and DJU showed his Achilles heel, scrambling, throwing off his back foot, and missing the receiver. And that's going to be the difference in this game. DJU's great. He's a good quarterback, but he just can't get over the hump. And he's not going to be able to do it against the Ducks at Autzen and Bo Nix. Bo Nix is he's in the pole position for the Heisman. And you beat Oregon State, who's ranked number 16, great coach team by Jonathan Smith. And you set up the rematch, and he's setting himself up to win the Heisman. So I see Oregon rolling big.
Yeah, I want the Beavs to win. Like, I think the spirit of a Beavs win would be a lot of fun. I think it'd be good for the game, be good for the conference. I mean, I'd love to see Oregon get a chance to play for the conference championship, but Oregon is good. They're really, really good. And I think they get a solid win here, and they get the Platypus Trophy back. And by the way, the Platypus Trophy, that is the Platypus Trophy because the duck-billed platypus has a beaver tail and a duck's bill. So that is why they have a Platypus Trophy for the two, the Beavs and the Ducks. So it's going to be a big one. And then, all right, guys, we've got one last game in the regular season history of the Pac-12. And very fittingly, it's going to be between the two schools who founded our conference together. 1959, not 1915 as they claim sometimes, but 1959, when Cal Professor Seaborg planned the conference for Cal, UCLA, and USC, Stanford, and Washington. So the last game of the Pac-12 regular season will be Cal at UCLA in the Rose Bowl. Pac-12, turn off the lights. Guys, it's our last after dark game. End the conference. The Bruins and the Bears. Who is going to win this big game?
So yeah, real quick, I was gonna this was gonna be my SC joke time because you guys don't have a game this week, but we've already kind of twisted the knife a little bit, so I'll move on from that. On like a more serious note, yeah, it appears that reports of Chip Kelly's demise were vastly exaggerated, and it seems like that has quieted down quite a bit. So I would like to congratulate SC on a serious note of being a legitimate football program that sees an issue and a problem and tries to fix it.
You are welcome.
Because you're actually doing something as a defensive coordinator position, and we had Jerry Azanaro for 4 years. So anyway, moving on from that, I'm kind of interested to see what Cal's offense does against our defense, only because there's a couple of defensive tackles that we have that are banged up. So I know that our rush defense and our that's the strength of our defense, right? But the Ott is one of the best running backs in this conference, and if we have a couple guys that are banged up or out, then maybe the best rush defense is still pretty good, but not as good as it would have been. And I after it was nice to beat up SC or whatever last week, but this UCLA team, if you're capable of losing to ASU at home, you're certainly capable of losing to Cal at home. And I think a lot of this game just depends on what kind of UCLA team shows up. But I think that UCLA if the good version of UCLA comes out, then I think that should beat a good version of Cal. So I'm going to take the Bruins in the last official Pac-12 regular season football game, which either way, win or lose, I will be taking in with my my Cal alumnus father, and I look forward to that. And I'm going to put on mute real quick and grab our Cal guest picker real quick.
We've got
I'll get back to you.
All right, we'll talk to you in just a sec. We have a special Cal guest picker, a anonymous but famous former Cal quarterback. So we're excited for that. Tim, what do you think about this game?
I still can't believe that the spread's only 9.5. I don't understand where some of these. I mean, again, these spreads always come out pretty damn close. This is one of those I look at and go, how is this? How is Cal going to score? Are they banking on that UCLA won't score? I'm confused by it, but UCLA I think with this one a lot more than 9.5.
I love that Chris is a loyal Bruin. He has ties to the Bears. That's that Calamoni relationship. And Cal and UCLA, why not? They share the same fight song, the same UC name. One's a Bear, one's a Bruin. They share the same colors, and there's some similarities. Let me share some of those with you. And Chris, I hope you're listening. And viewers in the chat, I'm just giving you a little bit of, USC, UCLA, Cal smack, because that's what we do. A little history lesson here. 1938 was the last time that the Cal Golden Bears won a Rose Bowl. Anybody can name the winning coach? Go ahead and put it in the chat. But they beat the Alabama Crimson Tide in 1938. The last time that Cal was in the Rose Bowl, played a Rose Bowl game, was 1959. And they lost the Iowa Hawkeyes. Now the last time
they have not been to a Rose Bowl since the first year of the Pac-12.
There you go. They lost the Iowa Hawkeyes in 1959. The Cal Bears did. And now let's talk about the UCLA Bruins. The last time they won the Rose Bowl was in 1986. I think it was January 1st of 1987 technically, but the 1986 season. And those Bruins, led by Matt Stevens, who's still the color commentator on their radio broadcast, they beat Chuck Long and the Iowa Hawkeyes. Whether or not Cal got a 10% share of UCLA's bowl money is still undisputed. But we have the Iowa, UCLA, Cal connection there. Big Ten. The last time that UCLA's actually been to the Rose Bowl was does anybody know? 1998. Cade McNown. Cade McNown was the quarterback, and they lost the Miami Hurricane Bowl, and they could have gone to the national championship. And they would have played Tennessee. Tennessee could have been 7-4 that year and still would have made the national championship because they had Peyton Manning on the team and it's SEC bias. But there you go. So why am I bringing this all up? Because it's all Pac-12. It's the last game. There's going to be chaos. And guess what? Cal, you're on Calamoni. You're on live support, but you're going for win number 6, and you're going to do it in the Rose Bowl. You are going to make history because you're never going to be in another Rose Bowl. But you're going to win the game that counts, and you're going to knock off the UCLA Bruins and be bowl eligible. It's going to happen because that's the Pac-12. Cal rolls over the UCLA Bruins. Roll on, you Bears.
Do we have our special celebrity guest picker?
Here.
Thanks for having me on. I've enjoyed listening to you guys this year. Rick, I guess that was supposed to be nice. I'm a little bit nervous here today because Chris tells me this could be used as an audition for next year's Pac-12 Chat Show. Before I make my pick, I want to say something about the Pac-12. I'm a dinosaur, and the world's passing me by, and I just really am having a hard time with what's going on. But my dad was a Trojan. He got degrees in math and as a bachelor's and master's degree. He raised me as a Trojan. We had season tickets, and these weren't the 50-yard line season tickets. They used to have an economy set of tickets that were down at the tunnel end, 40 rows up, and they were $18. And I don't mean $18 a game. It was $18 for the season.
For the season? That's awesome.
And we'd go and sit in those seats. And I remember the first football player that I ever thought, man, that guy, I love that guy. How cool is this guy? And that was Pete Beathard.
Oh, wow.
I wound up at Berkeley, and I remember a guy down the hall, he had that picture of Raquel Welch. You guys that are old enough will remember that poster. Everybody had that poster, and all that. And I had a cutout picture of Gary Beeben on my wall because, Pac 8 guy, football player, good stuff. I had a son, and I raised him as a bear. He left the house, and he headed north on the 405 on the way to Berkeley and got off at Sunset.
He didn't make it all the way up.
Point. I don't know where I went wrong. Point is, I got a history with the Pac. They had it Arizona State, and I didn't get it. Why? The Pac, it was the Washington schools, the Oregon schools, and the California schools. That's the Pac. Colorado, Utah come along, and it means nothing to me. That's why. And a statement, show you how dumb I am. I would tell people all the time, they can add these people, they can take these people away, but one thing you can count on, one thing that's always going to happen is SC, UCLA, Cal, and Stanford will always play each other. And it just breaks my heart that's what, it's just not happening anymore. And we're going to the ACC. I look at the ACC and I look at the schools we're going to play, and I just don't care anything about any of them. The only one I care about is I'd like to see Mac Brown lose at North Carolina every game. I'm glad somebody understands that. Thank you.
Yes. F. Mac Brown.
Those of us that lived through that Rose Bowl game will share your sentiments.
I just, I don't know. I'm so sorry to see the Pac-8 fall apart because it's just, that's been football, regional football, the Pac. But anyway, the ball game, the Bruins and the Bears. I'm hoping the Bears win and become bowl eligible and go to the Who Cares Bowl and beat somebody and win 7 games. And then they may build a statue of Wilcox, in front of the stadium. And people would be happy in Berkeley. But I really don't think it's going to happen. I think UCLA, if I had to bet, I'd pick them 7 to 10 points. And it's just, Jaden Ott is as good as they come. That guy's a great player. And our quarterback, Fernando, he's playing well also. But I think UCLA's front seven's just going to be too much. I think their front seven is better than our line. And styles of football have changed over the years dramatically, last 80 years. But most of the time, the team that is stronger up front wins the game. Not all the time, but most of the time. And I'm afraid that's what's going to happen. That's all I got.
Hey, we like it. And thank you for joining us. We're honored to have a celebrity in the house.
Yeah. Thanks.
Very rare around here. That's very rare.
Very rare for us to have a celebrity guest speaker. Thank you for joining us.
Well, thank you for having me.
And I'll tell you, I think you bring up good points. It makes sense to me that UCLA is going to win this game. Like, if I was going to bet money, I'd bet money on UCLA. But this is the Pac-12. It's the last Pac-12 After Dark. And in honor of the two men who founded the Pac-12, well, a couple of founders, but two men above all others, Dr. Glenn Seaborg, the Cal Nobel Prize winner and chancellor, and Dr. Clark Kerr, the UC president and former Cal chancellor. I'm picking the Bears. I'm not picking the fight song stealing Bruins. So I'm picking an upset. Fernando Mendoza is probably more likely to be chancellor of Cal someday than like an NFL quarterback. I don't care. I'm picking Fernando Mendoza, probably a heart surgeon to be, as the winning quarterback, because it's Pac-12 After Dark, and doggone it, for the last game, I can do that.
You know what? You've convinced me. I think I'm with you now.
Go Bears!
Go Bears!
Go Bears! Go Bears!
Happy Thanksgiving.
All right.
Thank you.
Happy Thanksgiving. All right, gang. We are going to take calls in just a minute because we want to hear from you guys. But first, we want to dig through our power rankings. So real quick, I'm going to put the call-in link in the chat. If you guys have a minute to wait around while we do our power rankings real quick, just want to have that in there. And you can dial in with your camera as well with the QR code there, because I know Chris is on a schedule here. So let's dig into power rankings. Pac-12 power rankings this week. Number 12. Guys, we finally have consensus again. We've come full circle this year from Colorado being the worst to crawling way up, and now back down. Colorado is dead last for everyone. Any surprises?
None.
It's been a wild ride.
DFL Buffaloes.
It has. And then we get a little clump. We've got a mix. We've got some Wazoo, some ASU, and some Stanford, but unanimity that those are definitely numbers 9 to 11. You know, when I look at this, it makes me think Wazoo probably is not going to pull the upset.
That's right. All
right. Next up, Cal, a solid number 8 across. So, you know, good season in Berkeley. You know, not great, but good. We'll see if they get the win. And then USC. How the mighty have fallen, gang. I couldn't put him. I couldn't think of a reason to put him any higher. Lord knows I wanted to. They have the talent to be way higher, but they don't tackle anybody.
They do have the talent to be way higher.
They tackle no one, and they block no one.
The season's a lot harder when you got to play Washington and Oregon,
and you don't block anybody.
That too.
I mean, they had fewer rushing yards than the Victory Bell has tires. Okay.
That was a crazy stat. Thank you for bringing that up.
4 tires on the Victory Bell.
3 rushing yards. Yeah.
It's ugly.
They're going to make a statue or a plaque and put it somewhere near Pauley Pavilion. They're going to commemorate that day. Chip Kelly, our soon-to-be fired coach, coached the team that relinquished only 3 rushing yards to USC, and he was fired 5 days later.
Did anyone notice why?
Cal.
I'm just glad that Rick didn't say banner, because everyone knows that we only hang championships. So it was smart of you to go plaque, because then maybe that's possible. But
actually, I'll tell you a really funny true story. This is not flattering to USC, but I was on the game management committee when I was an undergrad, and we had just taken over the sports arena for the Clippers had left, so we had control of the sports arena. And they decided to decorate it all to make it way more USC-like. And I just said, guys, we have to get rid of some of these new banners that you've put up. And they said, why? I said, because I said, just hang like some red and gold stripes or something. But you got it. It was why? Because UCLA only hangs national championship banners. And we were hanging a banner that said USC basketball, 1928 Pacific Coast Conference co-champions. Literally, like in the same style that UCLA hangs at the national team. It was like, oh, don't do that, guys. Anyway. All right, sorry, let's move on. All right, next up, Utah and UCLA. Tim, you and I love the Bruins the most. Are we going to have to take a shower after this?
Same rules apply. If team showed up on the field today, you know who's going to go.
We're not that good. I'm just going to let you guys know we are not that good.
Your defense.
The team that showed up on the field lost to ASU at home. Like that's not like that was in September. Like I promise you, we're not good.
What you guys were able to do again, USC's offensive line went from being bad to bad and bruised up. But what you guys were able to do, I'm sorry, there's not many teams in the conference that would have been able to shut USC's run game down. So that in itself, honestly, I'd give you lots of credit for that, period. There's no way not to do that.
Colorado shut USC's run game down. We got less than 100 yards.
Did not shut them down like that, and Rick, and that was like months ago. So, I mean, talk about now.
I mean, and UCLA is a little healthier now than they were. All right, next up, the Beavs. I'll say Beavs looked good, and who knows if they weren't playing in a hurricane, what could have happened? Actually, probably Washington would have scored more points, but. And then something that none of us expected: Arizona getting the respect they deserve. Bear down and back the A. Does this feel weird, guys?
Yes. No, like they were. You would have asked me like beginning of this season, I would have thought their upside would have been like, top 6, but I wouldn't have expected like SC and to a lesser extent Utah to kind of have the seasons that they did or kind of be what they have been on the field. I would have thought both those teams would have been a little bit better and stayed ahead of them the whole time. But like, hey, credit to Arizona, man. Like I don't know, they're like the way that they look now compared to kind of what they did earlier in the year, especially the change at quarterback, like that seems to have made the world of difference. And yeah, like kudos to them. I don't think that they're anywhere near on par with like the 2 teams above them. But they've certainly, I think they deserve to be the top of that next group.
I tailgated at the USC UCLA game and met a couple that was from the Long Beach area that were living in the Inland Empire, very well connected to Southern California football. In fact, the gentleman had a nephew that played in the 13-9 UCLA win over USC. His son was a Bruin, or I think his nephew was a Bruin. And they were familiar with Fafita and with McMillan. And they were telling me how special these guys were. And obviously we're seeing that right now. We're seeing this team with Jett Fisch. They've learned how to win. They were very close to beating USC, as we all saw in triple overtime, and they haven't lost since. So that's why I have them at number 3.
Oh, USC is they're in overtime with them because USC missed a chip shot field goal. That was like literally I could have kicked.
That's part of the game.
Yeah, well, we're just talking about what's a better team. A decent team would just kick like a 5-yard field goal and been out of the game. Arizona's been getting better every single game with Fafita. What's that, Tony?
I said a decent team would have. I wish we had a decent team to have done that.
Well, I mean,
special teams coach.
They lost to us.
Only we had a special teams coach. Maybe we'd have won.
Who knows?
They lost to us. That's an indictment right there.
Yeah, Yeah.
That's actually the best argument you have for why I should have Arizona lower is that they lost to SC.
And it was the way they lost to SC, because the other teams I'm looking at here that I have above USC, like they like dominated USC. That's why, I mean, I'm looking at the matchups of things. The teams above did handle USC, whereas ASU, I mean, they were in the game. USC probably should have won that game, a lot easier, not going to triple overtime. Whereas UCLA, Washington, and Oregon just took it to USC. So that's the difference in those teams.
All right. Now, guys, we've had some changes at the top. We've had some changes. We have unanimity. Number 2, Washington. And this whole panel thinks that Oregon is going to capture the championship if they go to Vegas.
Yeah, the entire season, I try to make sure I'm not just keeping lockstep with what the standings are, because that's not what this is. This is not a resume. This isn't a standings thing. Yep. This is your power rankings. And Oregon, for weeks now, clearly is the most balanced and best team in the conference. Period. Yeah.
They are. And I've been on that board with you like all season long. I think I had Washington number 1, maybe like week 2 and 3 or something. But I agree with you completely on Oregon. And I completely think that Washington is, should be higher in the playoff rankings than they are right now. From a most deserving kind of standpoint, right? Which is obviously different than what these are. But yep, I think Oregon's the best team. I think we are going to get that matchup again in the conference title game, and I think it would be super interesting to see what happens. I also think it would be hilarious if the Beavers pulled it off and Arizona snuck in to play Washington instead. But I think we get the rematch everyone's been calling for since the first game happened, and I'm looking forward to it.
And we got a question here. Gixer Squid, friend of the show, Gixer Squid. Thank you for your contribution. That helps the channel a lot. He says, "Fight on. Love the new channel, LBC." By the way, to everybody watching, we just put LBC's channel in the chat. He says, "Appreciate all you do for us local fans and brewmasters, but why Arizona over OSU?"
That's a great question. Thank you, Gixer Squid, for your super chat. Happy Thanksgiving to you and your family, and keep on brewing. Hey, Arizona won a close game over OSU in the desert by 3 points. They're both 8-3. And I just feel on a neutral field that Arizona would have the edge, and that's due to the quarterback play. I just trust Fafita more than I do DJU. And not because I like Servite more than I like St. John Bosco. It's talent. He's got more of a ceiling. He's got more upside than DJU, and that's how I feel.
I would
speaking
answer.
Of which, guys, speaking of which, on Friday, make sure you check out Southern Section Championship between Mater Dei and Bosco. Bosco blew them out 28-0 earlier this season, but I'll be there to Coliseum to watch Bosco most likely win the second straight state championship.
Nice. Good luck, Tim.
Yeah.
That'll be fun.
Yeah, it'll be fun.
Those are like 2 poor upstart schools with great stories that have, fought against all odds to make it there.
Those inner city schools just kind of eking it out, with their school budgets and just trying to finding a way to win.
And Jeff Rodriguez, Jeff, thank you for the contribution. Jeff says Oregon, tightest OD differentials in CFB, 01 D12. Yeah, Oregon's good.
That's pretty tight.
They're good. And by the way, real quick, guys, everybody who's watching right now, if you could just do us a big favor, makes a huge difference for Mark and the channel. Just give the channel subscribe if you're not already. It makes a huge difference. But just as importantly, just quick check like. It makes a huge difference to Mark and the whole Voice of College Football community. So we really appreciate it if you guys can take a second to do that. So with that, shall we move on to some callers?
Yeah, and I'm going to bow
Good.
out gracefully early.
Thank you, Chris.
Thank
Will
you.
Will you thank our special celebrity guest picker one more time for us?
I will do
Tell him to
that.
Go Bears.
Yeah, that was awesome. And remind him, I thought that would be the situation as well. I thought there was no way in hell when this all started that UCLA and USC were going to leave Stanford and Cal behind. That's the one part about this whole thing. They just economics didn't work out, whatever. But that was the one thing about this is the most disgusting part of the split. The other schools, lots of affiliations, a lot of love with those guys, but the 4 California schools never should have been separated.
I agree with you, Tim. I would have taken the two San Francisco schools over the PNW schools. I wish we had them all.
Yep. So on that note, agreed. And thank you, everyone. And I hope everyone has a wonderful Thanksgiving. And we will see you all next week to talk about the title game, I think. Have a good one. Thanks again. Appreciate everyone hanging out. And have a good night. Bye.
Congrats to your Bruins.
All right. We got one more super chat here real quick. Jeff says modern day is ghetto Santa Ana gang. I don't think it's that bad, is it? I don't know. I haven't been there in so long.
No, it's really not.
All right, let's go. Sorry, go ahead, Tim.
Oh, it just depends what your definition of a ghetto is. I mean, it's not in a bad neighborhood.
All right, let's go with Sean Garner. Sean, welcome to the channel.
Oh shit, I'm the first one up, huh?
You're the first one up. What's going on?
Oh, not much. Just enjoying the last regular season of Pacific 12 conference football. Yeah, it's Bears.
Wow, isn't it?
Yeah. All these years, I mean, this is something like you just never felt was ever going to go away. I mean, I don't even know what to compare this to. I thought the Pac-12 would survive well past when I went away, and now it's about to be gone. It's just surreal. So anyway, condolences on the loss and the rivalry game this weekend. That
you got to lose some to win them back.
What? I mean, at this point, did it really sting that much? Because the season was kind of lost in a way already.
It always stings.
It always does. Yeah,
that's not the game to lose.
No,
but it wasn't close. There's no controversy. We just, again, when the trophy has more tires than you have rushing yards, it is what it is.
Yeah. I was just thinking it was sad to see the great career of Caleb Williams, just one of the, I mean, honestly, truly all-time greats in the sport of college football. And when he's never going to have made a college football playoff, and
well, I mean, a lot of people don't make college football playoffs though. So,
well, I mean, yeah, of course, absolutely, but I mean, I feel like people are going to appreciate what he did, what he meant to the sport more in the years to come, because I think he's going to do great things going forward. But
you're right.
Yep. Anyway, the FKA Civil War here, formerly known as
exactly.
Civil War.
On this show, we still call it the Civil War.
Always. Absolutely. I would have been very intrigued with this if Oregon State was still in the Pac-12. I mean, I guess I still am. It'll be a great game. I don't think there's anything competing with it on Black Friday at this time, but I mean,
it's gonna be a good one.
Who do
you think wins?
Probably Oregon. I mean, like, I think they've got a significant edge at home. They've got the more talented roster without question. And I think they match up well with them. I think they play the style of football that, I mean, they're pretty similar teams in the way they like to attack, I think. And Oregon's got better players, so that gives a significant edge to them. But, I don't know. I mean, a few mistakes, who knows? And Bo Nix is looking to sew up a Heisman run here, so be interesting to see if they turn him loose at all.
It will be. Any other games you think will be interesting?
I mean, like at this point in the season, not terribly. I don't know. Washington State still has something to play for. I mean, that matters a lot. That's a big cultural battle too. Probably, you've got sort of like the erudite, sophisticated Seattle crowd against sort of like the rustic rest of Washington. I don't know I don't know exactly the cultural split here in this.
It's very much like Michigan State. One of the differences. So Wazoo is in the middle of nowhere. It's
on the border of Idaho and Washington, right?
Exactly. It's effectively in Idaho.
The University of Idaho and Washington State, I think they're like 10 or 15 minutes apart.
Oh, yeah, exactly. They're right next to each other. Yeah. But remember, like Wazoo, for example, has like a great engineering school, and so like the people from Wazoo then go live in Seattle. Generally, it's why their stadium, they only have like 30. It's the smallest stadium in major football. They only have like 31,000 seats or something, just because they are so far from civilization. But they have a lot of fans, which is why their TV numbers are always good.
Yeah,
they're really kind of an enigma in that. But they're going to play at Husky Stadium, which is one of the toughest places to play. So it's going to be an interesting one.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, and just overall thoughts from you guys. How do you feel as the end of an era? It's coming to a close here.
Yeah, I think it's going to be sad. It's going to be weird to see the end. That last game when they turn the lights off in the Rose Bowl is going to be a weird one for me.
All right. Okay, guys. Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Tony.
I said happy Thanksgiving. Thanks for calling.
Yeah. I just I'm gonna announce now. I'm thankful for you guys every week.
Thank you
for providing this content. I really appreciate everything you guys do.
Well, we appreciate having you call in. We're always glad to chat.
Thanks, Sean.
Good stuff, Sean.
Take care, Tony. Take care, Sean.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Right on.
Right on. All right. Next up, we got Jackson Johnson. Jackson, welcome to the show.
What's up, gents? How you doing tonight? Tim, how you feeling today?
I'm in one piece, Jackson. That's all I can ask for.
I'm glad you're doing better, man. I'm praying for your recovery. I was gonna say I was thinking about Oregon State on Black Friday.
Big game.
Yeah, if it was in Corvallis, spoilers could happen. But since it's in Autzen Stadium, it's gonna be dangerous for Oregon State.
Autzen Stadium's a tough place for everybody to play.
Oh man, nobody wins there. But I do have a good feeling it's gonna be a tight one. I mean, it is kind of weird, but if Oregon State was to win against Oregon, that means Arizona is still in play for that second spot of the Pac-12 title.
Well, and I'll tell you, I think Arizona's going to win that game handily. So I think this is the game that will determine, I think, who goes.
That's for sure. I mean, but I always say, never put yourself in a position where you need somebody ahead of you to lose. That's a no.
Very true.
That's true, but if you're Arizona, the fact that you could be the third place team in the Pac-12, nobody would have saw that coming. I have a nephew and a niece that are Arizona alums, and he shared with me at the beginning of the year, Uncle Rick, I'll be surprised if we win more than 3 games. So that's what their expectation was at the beginning of the year. Quite opposite of USC. I'm getting the business now because I had USC 11-1, and my nephew had them 3-9. So reverse expectations. It is what it is. It's reality.
I hope freezing cold taste doesn't find you, man. I'll tell you what.
Hey,
But-
man, I love you, Jackson. Happy Thanksgiving to you, my friend.
Oh, oh man, thank you, man. Happy Thanksgiving to you guys. And I was gonna say I'm glad that the Apple Cup is surviving for the next few years, which who am I kidding? They're gonna make that annual.
Well, yeah, it's the contract is the next 5 years. I'm sure they'll do another one after that. It's a good thing. That it's I think it's important that the Civil War is next. I understand that is in some sort of late stage negotiations. For some reason, it seems to be more controversial for some reason or more difficult scheduling wise. I don't know why, but I think it's important for the states that those games continue. And it's also kind of nice to see the grown-ups, come out ahead. Why is Oklahoma not doing this? You know what I mean?
I know, right? Why it's not so much Oklahoma, it's Oklahoma State. They're all, well, Oklahoma's leaving us, and we're gonna have our new not rival Colorado. I'm like, yeah, right.
It's ridiculous.
It's
Hey-
pathetic. I mean,
Hey, we got a thank you to a thank you real quick to Sean Gardner. Thank you for your super chat, Sean. He says, "Happy Thanksgiving, everyone. Love you all. RIP Pac-12, Pac-10, Pac-8, PCC." It's wild. Thank you, Sean. And Sean, we're always glad to have you call in. Thank you for that. It helps the channel a lot.
well, one question I was thinking about also, I know that UCLA California is going to be the last Pac-12 game in history of the Pac-12 or the Pac as a whole. Maybe it's just me, but this must have been how the Southwest Conference felt in 1995.
Yeah, I know. You're probably right. I mean, now there is the championship game, which will be all about the playoffs and all that. So this is the last regular season game. We don't want to short the championship game, but yeah, I think this is going to feel like the last one.
Yeah.
And yeah, the Southwest Conference had a lot of the same situation of, some teams were moving on to something exciting and new, and some teams were left without a home.
Yeah.
So I think it's going to be very similar to that.
Well,
One of the differences though here, of course, is the Pac-2 has decided they are going to continue as a Pac-2.
Oh wow.
So I don't know how that's going to work in the end. We'll see. But apparently they've officially gotten clearance from the NCAA. They didn't need it, but they got an official letter from the NCAA verifying that they have permission to continue as the Pac-2.
Yeah, I mean, it is sad to think about that. I mean, I'll be honest, like when I'm looking at like Notre Dame, Stanford, and Utah, Colorado, I mean, I've been thinking about this all year, but I wonder how the Pac-12 network commentators are feeling. Like, like on air, it's feeling good. It's a great game, but off air, they're just kind of like, holy cow, this is like the last time we're working at this network.
So they did something that was interesting. And I don't know if I agree with it or not, but they decided that they were going to embrace this last year of the conference for all of its football excitement. And they decided that the Pac-12 network was not going to cover the political baloney. I mean, one of the things that the Big Ten network does really well, I feel, is cover the Big Ten. Like, you get Dave Revsine and Nicole Arbach, and, they sit there and talk about big issues relating to the Big Ten. And the Pac-12 network just kind of decided we're not going to do that. So.
Well, that's kind of par for the course because it never was a network. And if you're a network, you're supposed to report. You're a journalist. But I guess it's selective reporting. So it's a selective network, and DirecTV selected not to distribute you. So it only makes sense.
Well, I hope all those people at the Pac-12 network got a plan B, plan C, plan D. I hope everything works out for them, man. I'm really hoping everything goes well for them. I really
Yeah.
do.
Especially
Because
when folks like
they didn't ask for any of that to happen. They didn't ask for any of all this to happen.
when folks like Yogi and Ashley are fantastic.
Yep.
Yeah.
They are fantastic. There's a couple of them I could do without. One might have been a former Oregon coach, but that's just my own personal opinion. They're actually eminently qualified. I just get annoyed at their coverage. But in general, like the Pac-12 network does a great job. They always did a great job producing the games. They just couldn't get it on enough TVs.
It's good to know, though, that all but one of the Pac-12 officials will be reffing in the California JC system next year. The one guy that did move on was the head of officials, Chris Coit, who this year is reffing in the Big Ten.
Yeah, the Big Ten went and took the only. But actually, that new guy that they just stole from Conference USA, who I feel bad for, he's pretty good.
Yeah,
I don't know his name, but they see him. I mean, I look at it, I'm like, oh God, it's Duddy. And I look at like the refs that I don't want to see because Lord knows what'll happen. But when on the rare occasions when we get that guy, I'm like, oh, we got the good guy from CUSA. He's gonna be good. So
well, gents, I'm gonna get off here, and y'all have a good night. Sleep well. Happy Thanksgiving. I'm thankful that I've known you guys for a year, man. I'm so thankful
You too.
to have the honor of knowing you guys, and talking Pac-12 football and USC college football as a whole, really. And y'all stay safe and stay warm. It's cold out, and Tim, you get the film better, man.
Jackson, thanks for calling in, man. You're always great. Sorry, I just can't. Same thing, Sean. Sorry, I just can't talk to you guys.
It's okay.
Poor Tim,
You
he
get the
feels
film
so
better.
bad.
Jackson, I love you, man. And
Roll Tide, Jackson.
Beat the War Damn Eagle in the Iron Bowl. Roll Tide, and God bless Bear Bryant. Go win one.
We will. But it's
Happy
going to be a
Thanksgiving.
tight one.
Happy Thanksgiving, my friend.
Happy Thanksgiving, Jackson. Thanks
You
for calling
too,
in.
Love y'all, guys. Y'all stay safe.
You
Love
too.
you.
We love you too. All right. Hey, we got one more super chat here. Gixer Squid asks, what Thanksgiving dish would best articulate your current sentiment towards USC? Ambrosia and Jello salad for me.
Oh my God.
Jello shots for me. What about you?
Oh, I think he nailed it, man. I think Gixer nailed it. Ambrosia and Jello salad. Yeah, that pretty much sums it up. I can't go anywhere else.
Until we tackle somebody, I'm going Jello shots. What about you, Tim?
It's like those little, when I was a kid and still, I don't do that. The gravy the old people eat, the gravy, the giblets or whatever. I don't even know what giblet is, right? But I assume whatever a giblet is, it's what USC's defense is, in my opinion. Going back to being a kid to now, I want no giblets ever.
No giblets. I like it. Giblets are USC's defense. That is so true. Oh, all right, guys. Well, this has been fun. We are at about that time. Rick, any final thoughts here?
Hey, I appreciate everybody that comes into the Pac-12 Chat Show live every week. You guys are diehards, college football fans, Pac-12 fans, and it's been a magical year this last year. Wish everybody a very happy Thanksgiving. Be with your family and friends, and be thankful for what you have. And it's going to be a great last week in the Pac-12. I'm rocking a shirt here for those 4 schools that are moving on to the Big 12, Utah, Arizona State, and Colorado. I got your back. Just remember Stillwater. You want to go to Eskimo Joe's. It's the #1 place right next to the stadium. So congrats on moving on and getting paid, because that's what college football is about. It's a business, nothing personal, and the game evolves, and it will continue to evolve. Fight on, and good luck to your team this week.
Tim?
Yeah, no, just I am very thankful for this community. This Pac-12 community has been really great. I mess with most of you guys, but the Pac-12, I've always been proud of the Pac-12. I don't admit it very often, but really nice to meet all of you guys. Many of you, we'll still have another show, I think, after the championship game coming up. Bittersweet. We're taking the wrong teams. Sorry, I'm gonna say it. Discount Ducks, half out Huskies. You can say all you want. I'm gonna miss a lot of you guys, but we're not saying goodbye yet. Just happy Thanksgiving to everyone, and I'll see you guys all next week.
Thank you. And Tim, go feel better. We feel bad you're sick. Hey, I want to thank you guys for joining us tonight and this whole season. It means a lot. We really enjoy spending time with you guys. We enjoy getting to know you guys. And no matter who you root for or cheer for this weekend, take some time, watch a couple of those Pac-12 games. It's the last weekend of the Pac-12, which is crazy, and it's too bad. There's a lot of history, a lot of wild times that the athletes had in the field, that fans had in the stands, that students had. This is really going to change the sport, but we get one last weekend of it. So please join us, celebrate, cheer, laugh, and we'll see you next week to break it down. Thank you, everybody. Fight on.